The following is brought to you by Sports Radio New York.
To say a team that's 22 games over 500 is a disappointment, but I just don't feel anywhere near as good about their prospects for the playoffs this year, if they make it, that is, at this point in the season as they did earlier in the season. Is that me being pessimistic, or there's genuine cause for concern here?
Well, I think they're in the playoffs. I mean, the 3-game lead, 4 weeks to go, is no lock. But the Rangers, which is the only competition for that spot right now, because Tampa's 7 out, that's not going to happen. And the Rangers, Michael Young's hurt, Josh Hamilton's hurt. We're talking about 2-3 weeks, both those guys. So I don't see that challenge coming there. Plus, the Sox have a very light schedule. You know, they got the Rays and the Angels coming up in the next 10 days at home. But, boy, the last 2 weeks, they just load up with the Blue Jays who have quit.
Yep.
And the Orioles who can't beat anybody. And there's one series with the Yanks, but they won't have much to play for. So the last 2 weeks of Boston season, I think they're in.
Okay.
And that's a start. Now, your other thing is...
Once we get there, well, what can we expect?
You really don't need a fourth and fifth starter once you're in.
Right.
I mean, it's not that big a deal. So this whole scramble right now with Tim Wakefield, who can barely walk, and Daisuke, who's in his rehab assignments, and Paul Bird, who's retired for 11 months, and Tozawa, who's getting hammered left and right. I mean, that's all fun to make everybody nervous. But I think if they have John Lester, Josh Beckett, Clay Buchholz, who's pitching pretty well.
Yeah, he is.
They're and their bullpen. I mean, Wagner's been good for them. Bard throws hard, and we know Papelbon's as good a closer as you're going to get right now. So, and they kill people at home. They really hit. Once they got guys like J.D. Drew batting 8th. So it's a good team, and it's a team that the way I see this playing out is they're going to play the Yanks in the ALCS.
You think they're going to beat the Angels, huh?
The Angels will never be taken seriously until they
beat us.
that they can beat the Red Sox, and they've lost 9 out of 10 games in this century in the playoffs to the Red Sox, including last year. It's always something with them, and I love them. I love Mike Scioscia, and we always think it's going to be better, and now I'm like, show me, because they just can't get over the hump, and they're due, but it's a psychological hump with the Red Sox now, and they need to show they can get past that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. A lot of what has ailed the Red Sox this year has been the back end of their rotation, and they just haven't gotten what they thought they were going to get from the guys that they've had pitching in those spots this year. But I blame a lot of that on Daisuke Matsuzaka. I really do, and his. To be quite honest, I see it as selfishness. It appears to me that he put his own priorities ahead of the teams with his investment in the WBC. Is that an accurate assessment as far as you're concerned?
I think that tournament's very important to the Japanese players, to the culture, and it's a lot more valued than it is here. And, yeah, I think what you said is true. And, he was MVP both times.
And now he can't get double-A hitters out. I mean, it annoys you. It really does.
Yeah, the weird part about that was they were contending that he was out of shape coming into Fort Myers after that. I don't quite understand how you can exert yourself and pitch well at that level and then be out of shape coming into the big league camp.
I agree.
But by any measure, it was a setback, and this year has been a complete disaster for him, coming off the heels of winning a World Series game in 07 and going 18-3, which is a little bit obviously phony last year, but it was still legitimate, good years.
Right.
And to now a non-entity, and everybody's mad at him, but he may very well be the fourth guy if they get there, because I don't see a lot of other candidates raising their hand right now, and he's on course to be able to be in that position if they need that going forward.
It'd be a huge shot in the arm for them. Now, let me ask you, was he ever really hurt, or because he invested so much prep time with the WBC, are they basically giving him his off-season now? You know what I mean?
Well, and again, for $103 million, that shouldn't happen.
No, you're right.
And it's a disaster from start to finish. But whatever it is, and in addition to everything you just said, he's complained about the training regimen and what they do with him compared to what he wants to do. So it's been a really bad year for the guy. I just have a feeling that there may be some redemption in this thing before it's over, because he's a quality pitcher who's gotten major league hitters out for a couple of years, and now he's if he comes in and he has a lot of bullets left when you get into late September, then that's a good situation.
Well, he's a wild card, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now, are his teammates or the organization as a whole, are they as upset with him as maybe some of the fans are, or are they?
Yeah, the manager and the pitching coach were furious when he made those statements a month or 5 weeks ago, whatever. And they've all kind of straightened things out on that, I suppose. But people were angry and feelings were hurt, and I think it's very much flies in the face of the whole culture, and it's just not what the Japanese players do. So I think he was embarrassed by it, and will be a good soldier going ahead here. And it's possible he could be a wild card in the thing.
Yeah.
But he's never been really like a teammate kind of guy. He's almost an independent contractor, just comes in and does his thing. And there's